Welcome back, everybody, to the Blues feed. It's the same obsession and a new episode of Chelsea. We are previewing the Tottenham game. We're talking about the bullshit of the Wolves game, even though we won. How are we doing, Luke? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. We got a lot to get through and some really wide varying topics. So I'm looking forward to it, mate.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Before we get into it, just remind everybody of the 1K subscriber giveaway. Drop a subscription, drop a comment, and you will enter into a Chelsea 25-26 shirt. Right, let's get into it. Let's talk about Wolves first, mate. Um, a game of two halves, quite often the case with Chelsea. We don't seem to be able to play more than 45 minutes well. Um, Sometimes that's the first half shit. Sometimes it's the second half shit. I didn't expect it in this game when we went 3-0 up. I thought Wolves would crumble and we would just dominate the game and we wouldn't have to play any of the players that needed a rest. But alas, we didn't. What did you think overall of the game before we get into the specifics?
It was really chalk and cheese, wasn't it? Like I was really impressed in the first half. It felt fluid. It felt energetic. The second half, I wanted to try and be a bit eloquent with the way I spoke about it. But it was just shit, wasn't it? It was just so bad.
It was,
And
mate.
I mean, the only way to sum it up is that fucking stupid red card from Liam Delap, isn't it? It sums it up. The bit where he comes on is like the first half where everyone's excited to see him back. He's been out for a couple of months and there's a bit of excitement around it and everyone seems quite happy. Two stupid yellow cards in 7 or 8 minutes, whatever it was. Like the second half, it was just pure stupidity. It was rubbish, and like Maresca said, it was embarrassing, and that was the second half performance in total. To be honest,
Yeah, agreed. I mean, what the fuck Delap was doing, I don't know. I like that he's got that aggression. I like that he's got that fight, but it wasn't a scrappy game. It wasn't a physical game. It wasn't that they were kicking two fucking lumps of shit out of us all the time. He just decided to make it into that, and all it did was fire up Wolves even more. Every time he like pushed someone or bumped into them, it fired up the crowd that weren't behind them at all and were singing, "You're getting sacked in the morning," and they want their owner out. And then he just does that, and we're down to 10 men, and now we don't have him for Spurs off the bench. It's just utterly embarrassing, to be completely honest with you.
yeah, for sure. Um, like you say, one of the best parts about the Laps game is his aggression and that sort of ferocity he brings, but you've got to channel it. And I'm sure adrenaline probably just took over him. He's been 2 months out. He really wanted to make an impact. He knows that that position's his if he comes on and plays well. And I think the adrenaline probably took over, and he'll be regretting it, and he'll know that he's made a mistake. He's let the team down. He's let the club down because now he obviously cannot feature at the weekend against Spurs, which is frustrating because you think if he'd have come on and played 30 minutes, maybe looked a threat, got a goal or something, then you'd think, oh, he'll start the weekend, get 60, and take him off, give him a midweek rest next week, and it's yeah, it's looking a bit nice again, especially in that area of the pitch. But yeah, stupidity to be honest, mate, and it's very frustrating because it makes the Spurs game harder for
It
sure.
does for sure. It makes it a bit difficult to what you're going to do. I don't know if he'd ever have started. I don't know if he's physically fit enough for it, but it certainly takes that option out the way, and it certainly doesn't allow you to bring him on in the second half. Um, so yeah, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. It's just absolutely stupid. What's that? The sixth red card in 8 games or something
Nine
stupid.
games, yeah.
9 games, yeah. It's mental. And Maresca needs to get on top of it because he come out in the presser after the other red cards and said there's not a disciplinary issue. Um, I don't really tell them off or discipline them. I try and teach them. Well, mate, that's not working. So you need to change it. You need to discipline them. There should be some strict discipline now. And if you get a red card for anything that's idiotic, then there's big repercussions. I mean, I get the Sanchez one was stupid, but he was trying to win the ball. The Trev one was stupid, but he was trying to be a Hail Mary. Um, but the other ones are just idiotic.
And that's
Um,
the thing, and that's it's not often I agree with a Maresca comment in a press conference, but what he said the other night was true. Like you just said, the Sanchez one, the Chalobah one, you can sort of forgive it because they're trying to do the best by winning the ball and helping us out of a bad situation. But it's the Malagusto one against Forest. Like, let's be honest, a player for me should never get sent off for 2 yellow cards unless it really, really helps the team out because you've got
Not
that
in like
first.
10 minutes.
Or at all, to be honest, because you've got that first warning. Be careful. Don't put yourself in a position where you need to make another foul or take another yellow card, unless it's something like a last man tackle and you're 2-1 up in the last minute or something like that. Fine, no problem.
Mm.
But outside of that, your players should never be getting sent off for 2 yellow cards, especially in such a short period of time. But yeah, like you say, Maresca's got to do something now because it's the stupid ones that are the frustration, the real
But the
downbeat
fact
element
that he
to it.
told him 5 times to calm down on the sideline as well is just
Yeah, but
just mental.
from my point of view, I reckon he just adrenaline took over, and that Mosquera at Wolves, the centre back, the one that provoked him into it, he shouldn't have fell for it anyway. But he's very good at provoking players in that scenario,
They will just
and
grow up. You're playing against a
that's
team
the
that are
thing.
nowhere near as good as you. You're
Exactly
playing
that.
against a team that you're dominating, and it was I don't know what the score was when Delap came on, but you dominated the game. They've not won in ages. They're shit. Just laugh at them. You play for
Yeah,
Wolves.
exactly,
Like you don't need
exactly.
to have a fight with them. It's mental.
Yeah, exactly that.
Don't get me wrong, if
Yeah,
he'd come on against Spurs and we were getting battered and like we were getting wound up by Romero, then I'd half get it because it's Spurs and you're trying to do it and you're losing and you're getting battered. But you're playing Wolves in the cup. It's
yeah,
just
exactly.
stupidity.
Yeah, for sure. But I think, yeah, it's one of those things. I think we've got to try and forget it and move on. But there's too many reoccurrences of a good half and a bad half in the same 90
For,
minutes, and we've got to get more consistent. I think we've only had one good full match this season for me, and that's the Liverpool game. I don't think there's been any other game where we've been solidly consistent for 90 minutes.
no, I probably agree with you. Um, and just to kind of wrap up the Wolves stuff, I thought um, Jorgensen's completely showing that he's nowhere near good enough, and he makes
He is
Sanchez look like Manuel
woeful, man.
Neuer. I thought Hato was very solid and very good again. I liked him in the left centre back role when he moved into that in the back end of the game as well, and I'd be very tempted with him. Be it Spurs or be it very soon in that role, because Tosin is just showing again that even though he's 28, he plays like a 16-year-old. He's not even doing the physicality and winning the balls in the air anymore. He's being an idiot one-on-one, and then he's also just not winning headers. So
Yeah,
what's the point in him? I thought Josh was solid again and showing that he's our best centre back, and then played right back and was good over there again.
and he played
Malagusto,
90.
and he played 90, yeah, which is good. I mean, the only problem is does he have the fitness to play again on Saturday? I'd hope so, and I'll be fuming if he doesn't. But we'll get on to the Spurs preview. I thought Gusto was just average. He did nothing wrong. Did nothing spectacular. Um, in the midfield, I thought Lavia was very tidy. Did give the ball away a couple of times. I think once for the one of the goals as well. But I thought he was very tidy and a good another minutes into his legs. And Santos was fantastic throughout. Don't know if you want to
Yeah,
add anything onto the midfield.
yeah, for sure, mate. Like you said with Lavia, I think he did lose the ball a couple of times, but I think it just comes to the way he plays. He's not that often. He's not a safe passer. Generally, he likes to progress the ball and he likes to be a little bit riskier with it, which is going to bring the opportunity to lose the ball. I think, yeah, like you said with Josh was superb again. I actually would start Hato at centre back this weekend, which we'll come on to in a little while. And Gittins and Esteval have got a real good connection. I find when they play together, they definitely complement each other quite well. And I think Gittins has been superb in the last two midweeks and fully deserves a start this weekend. And Esteval's just
It's
top
an
class.
interesting one. I put something out on Twitter midway through that game when we went 3-0 up. I feel like our attack's more fluid without Neto on the pitch.
You say that,
Because we scored 8 goals in the last two
yeah, but look at
games.
the two teams we've played. I think that's got to be you've got to add the context of that because if you look at like the Forest game, Neto was the one who dragged us back into that. yeah, okay,
Hmm.
Guy come on and he helped the situation. The Sunderland game, he got the assist for the goal. The Forest game, he got a goal and an assist. Like Neto's been good this season, and taking his work rate out of the team, especially in a game like Spurs, will notice. So I do understand what you're saying. He's probably not as um, creative or as fluid in the attack as the likes of Esteval Gittins, and sometimes he can be a little bit frustrating. But I think he's one of those players that, all right, he's never going to probably be the standout winger, etc. But what he brings off the ball, you need in games like the game this weekend. I think.
I
But
get what you're
I do
saying, but how many
I do get
times
what
are
you
we
mean.
going to have to watch Gittins and Esteval play really well before Neto gets dropped out of the first
But this
team, if
is,
you want to call
like
it?
I say, we'll get onto the team in a minute. But I've got all three of them starting for me this weekend.
Fair, fair enough. I thought Buonanotte just showed that he's just the Argentinian Drewsbury Hall. He's just that player in the team this year.
Yeah, he's okay.
So,
Like he doesn't do anything wrong. He's just decent. Like he's not. He doesn't do anything good. He doesn't do anything bad.
yeah.
He does work hard. Like you say, it's Dewsbury Hill. He works hard.
Well,
He adds a forward pass here and there, but generally the game just tends to bypass him. I think he's
no, it's
just
just average.
yeah,
Just,
exactly.
just looks like a loan from Brighton, to be honest with you. And then George up front, I thought he was okay. Still not a striker and still not Chelsea level, but he got his goal. He was in a good position. Just think outside of the odd thing he does well, he just kind of ghosts the games, to be completely honest with you.
Can we quickly just talk about that Gittins goal?
Yeah.
My gosh, what a strike, man! That
Yeah, I
is
mean, it was an unbelievable strike, and watching it back, I enjoyed it more. But I was just so pissed off with the way that we were playing and what Delap has
yeah.
done that
Yeah,
I just did.
I feel for Gittins and Esteval and Santos a little bit, those three, because the way that second half panned out has taken the shine off their performances a little bit because the three of them were very good. Like you said earlier, Santos was fantastic throughout. Esteval was incredibly creative. Gittins was so direct. And yeah, I think those to add a slight positive on an overall negative. I think those three were brilliant, and yeah, Gittins especially for me in the last two midweek games where he started, I feel like he deserves to start in the league this weekend in such a big game. I feel like he's earned that chance.
I think the only problem with the Gittins, I think Gittins did, and I agree with everything you said. The only problem is Garnacho was our best attacker against Sunderland,
Yeah,
so
that
you've
doesn't say
got
a
a bit
lot
of an
though.
issue. Yeah, I know it doesn't, but it's to your point
We were so
earlier
poor
on
in that
Neto
game.
of like why you can't necessarily say Stephen Gittins have to start. Well, look at the teams that Gittins have played. Wolves are terrible and Ajax were terrible.
True.
Garnacho played very well against Liverpool and played very well against a Sunderland side. So it's an issue it's a good issue to have. But I'd probably give the nod to Gittins, but I definitely wouldn't be that annoyed if Garnacho started because of
No,
his
it's
performances.
not the one that would annoy me most. I don't think, but I just think with the way that the last few weeks have gone, the Sunderland loss, etc. We got to start playing players a little bit more on merit of their performances,
Yeah,
like Esteval, I suppose. I know there's talk about him not being physically ready for the Premier League from Maresca, and he's the one who
I think
sees
that's
him every day
bollocks.
in training. He's got to make that call. But for me, I don't think you need to be physically ready if you're old enough and good enough.
I'm
Sorry,
sorry, but that's
if you're good
bollocks. The
enough, you're
Brazilian
old
league is
enough.
so physical that
Yeah,
there's not going to be much of a difference.
exactly. And I mean,
I've not
let's be
seen him in
fair, he's
any
played.
performance or any sub appearance or anything where I thought, oh, he looks weak.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it'll be interesting, and we'll come on to how we both expect us to line up in our own opinions slightly in a little while's time. But yeah, and Andres Santos superb again, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I think the other frustration from the game is the fact that we had to bring on Caicedo, Enzo, um, who else came on that should have had a rest? Enzo, Caicedo, Cucurella,
Neto,
and
yeah,
Neto.
Cucurella,
The
yeah,
four people who needed a rest the most, we had to bring on to beat Wolves when we were 3-0 up at half time. So that was very annoying. And if we look lethargic or tired at the weekend, I'm going to be even more pissed off. But
yeah.
hopefully we won't because it's a derby. But
I
to
mean, to
go
be
on to
fair,
that,
I think the Cucurella and Enzo ones they come on when we were 3-1 up. I don't think we brought them on to win the game. I think they were.
I think we
I think
did. I think we did. He saw that it was going to utter shit, so he had to bring some players on.
I'm not sure. I feel like he was always going to take Lavia off at that point.
Yeah, Lavia's fine, but it didn't need to bring Caicedo on.
Yeah,
No,
Caicedo
sorry, he
didn't come on.
didn't need to bring Caicedo on. It didn't need to bring Cucurella on.
Caicedo only played 5 minutes, to be fair. But yeah, Cucurella, the one, yeah, he didn't need to come on. But I think Fernandez would always have come on for Lavia. But anyway, it was a frustrating game all round, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. To go on to the Spurs preview, then we will jump into that now. I've just realised I've done a blunder and put Sunderland here, but this is the Spurs shape. This is their game against Everton. So as you can kind of see there, it's a pretty standard kind of 4-2-3-1, but their kind of 10 kind of drifts a little bit more out to the left, and they don't really have a 9 because Richarlison's not been playing as much, and Solanke's injured, and Tell's been playing up top. So that's the kind of shape. So that's the kind of shape that they play. I mean, they've been quite vulnerable from wide. They've also conceded quite a few goals. They give up quite a few chances as well. They haven't been the most attacking, free-flowing team in the league. I've seen quite a few Spurs fans moan about the way that they're playing football. But they've started to do a bit of the dark arts, the long throw-ins, the corner kicks, and they've been scoring goals like that, which worries me. It worries me for the weekend because we look terrible from all of those. So, anything you kind of want to say on Spurs specifically?
Yeah, I think you've covered a lot of it there. I think the way you can get at them is behind their fullbacks, especially Porro. If you can isolate him, drag Danso out and leave spaces in the middle, I think they're there for the taking. It just depends. I think it really, and this might sound a little bit big headed and biased, but it depends what Chelsea show up. If we get a Chelsea from the Liverpool game, then Spurs they can't match us. I don't think. I really don't. But it's just if we can get that Chelsea team out. I mean, I think Colin Mwani started for them last weekend and didn't look particularly good. He's been out injured for a while. Richarlison might play, but either way, like as average as we think most of our centre halves, apart from Josh, are, we should be able to deal with their forwards. The wingers, Johnson's relatively direct, but he's got no match on Kukurea. Xavi Simons plays out on the left. I don't think he's going to do much against Reece. You got Kudus is the threat, isn't he? Especially, I think last weekend he played in a 10, but if he plays in a 10, Caicedo's there. So I'm not as concerned. I'd be more concerned if he was on the wing probably because he can float about a little bit more and he also can use the overlap to his advantage. But I think in the 10, Caicedo will just mark him out of the game. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm just going to be interested to see what they do because, like you say, Pedro Porro is probably their weakest point in defence. I've seen a few of the Spurs fans saying they should drop Porro, put Spence on the right, and play somebody else out on the left back position to kind of nullify it because they're worried if Gittins. I actually saw someone say if Gittins starts, he's going to run us absolutely riot. Was what the Spurs fan said. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, they've got a lot of injuries as well, so they don't have a huge amount of options. I feel like they picked up another injury at the weekend. But you just know what Thomas Frank's going to do. He's going to make them very hard to beat. He's going to basically deploy the Sunderland tactic and try and hit us on the break, basically, which worries me quite a lot because we cannot play against those type of teams.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think we're going to just have to play with intensity, move the ball quick. Whoever's on the wings has got to be direct. Obviously, we're gonna come onto the lineups and how I would personally like to see us play. But yeah, I think intensity and being direct, especially out wide, is the key factors to win this game.
Absolutely, and not give up the first goal because we'll just allow them to just sit in their box, and just not do anything. Because that's how Thomas Frank will get them to play. Because he knows, like Maresca coming out in the press conference and saying, "Oh, we struggle against low blocks, and when people are playing 5 at the back and stuff like that." That's just Frank is just going to absolutely eat that up and just make it as hard as possible. So it could be a really frustrating game, but to move on, we've got our lineups. For anybody who's listening, I'll read out mine first. I've gone for Sanchez in goal, James at right back, Achimpong in the middle, Trev at left centre back. But I'd be very tempted by Hato, which Luke will come on to and has chose that. But I would go Trev left centre back. I just don't want Tosin in there. I don't think Fofana's going to play because he's hardly played it recently, so he must be covering a knock, carrying a knock, should I say. Cucurella at left back. I've gone for Lavia and Caicedo in the middle with Enzo in the 10. Just a little bit more solid, a little bit more there. I'm not sure Guy's going to start after he didn't play very well and didn't feature midweek at all. And then I've gone Gittins and Esteval because I just think they both deserve to start after their last two performances. And then I've gone for João Pedro up top, which I don't like, but we don't have a choice because Delap's an idiot. Luke, do you want to go through yours, mate?
Yeah, so I think obviously you've done a little bit mixture of sort of between prediction and what you'd like to see, where I've gone fully down the route of this is what I want to see, and I don't expect Maresca to play this by any means. So I've gone Rob Sanchez in goal, Reece James right back, Kukue left back, centre backs of Hato and Achimpong. I know there's inexperience there, but I think aside from the fact that we've obviously got the two best fullbacks probably in the league, or two of the best fullbacks in the league. Hato is very good at left back, but he's also very good at left centre back. And I just think that with the issues we've got at centre back at the minute, I don't see him playing centre back anyway. But I would like to see him play with Josh, and I feel like they would actually complement each other quite nicely. Then the obvious two in midfield for me of Caicedo and Enzo. Then Pedro Neto off the right, Jamie Gittins off the left, Esteval in the 10, and João Pedro up front. Like Danny, I don't particularly like the Pedro at striker situation, but Gittins obviously wasn't. Guiu obviously didn't get in the squad the other night, and we're not quite sure why that is. I don't know if he's got an injury or something potentially, and Delap didn't really help us out in that way. So that's what I'd like to see, but I don't think that's what we will see for what it's worth.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just standard Enzo Maresca big game team where it will be like Sanchez, Gusto at right back. It might be Achimpong and Trev, Cucurella, and then it'd be like Caicedo and James with Enzo in the 10, and then it'll be like Neto, one of the left backs and getting Garnacho and Pedro up top. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that at all.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see something a little bit more dull. But mine just feels fun, and that's why I'd like to see it. But
yeah, I mean, I don't think you can argue with why in any of those positions. To be completely honest, I mean, your team, basically the only argument would be he said that he doesn't think Esteval's ready to play physically in the 10, but could play out wide. And then you've got the Gittins or Garnacho thing that we've already discussed, and the fact that we don't really want Pedro up top, but we don't really have a choice. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does, but he needs to get it right, and he can't lose to Spurs. If you're gonna hang on to any of the fans that do still want you in the club, or you're gonna get any that are a bit 50-50, losing to Spurs is gonna tip you either way.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
I think we've only lost to Spurs once in the last like 8 years, and that was the end of Potter basically. So yeah, I'm not saying that if we lose to Spurs it'll be the end of Maresca, but it will turn people.
I'll drive him to Turin.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll pay out Spalletti's contract.
I'll just buy him a Ryanair flight to Turin.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, to go on to our score predictions, we've actually both gone the same, but I'll go through mine. I've gone 2-2. I just don't see us winning the game after the last couple of performances. Spurs are going to be bang up for it, and they're going to make it very difficult. I think it's actually going to be quite high scoring. They usually are. I've gone for Enzo and Cucurella as goal scorers with Caicedo as man of the match.
Yeah, and I've also gone 2-2. I think Esteval and Enzo will score. Obviously, going from my lineup that I would like, but like Danny said, I don't expect Esteval to start, so that could change. And then big game, Caicedo will be man of the match. I'm pretty certain on that. That'd be where my money would go. I'll tell you that for a fact.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if Caicedo's man of the match, we've probably done quite well. because if he plays the best he does, then we usually play really well. And I thought he had a bit of an off game against Sunderland, and we really struggled. So yeah, it's a big game, massive game. We need to win. We need to continue some sort of momentum. We need to get a bit of a good feel factor back at within the side. And like I say, we don't lose to Spurs. This is the biggest derby, probably, from a feeling perspective, not necessarily from a match perspective, but a feeling perspective. We just don't lose to Spurs, so we have to win. But that wraps it up. That's the end of the episode. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. Please drop a like, please drop a comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know your team selection. Recommend us to a friend. And we will catch you all soon.